Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Auphanim. So a lot of the times I find myself going back to a lot of the foundations, websites like stellarfoundation.com, ripple.com, and I found myself today on ripple.com. I like to scroll through just to see if they post anything new, get some updates, right? So I scroll down and I always end up looking at this little space here they have: join hundreds of financial institutions on RippleNet. And of course, the first one they have up there is Bank of America. So I said to myself, okay, well, let's take a look at Bank of America's financials, since they're involved with, they're both involved with XRP and XLM, right? Because I believe, was it Bank of America that partnered with IBM on this current CBDC infrastructure that they just built? I think it was them, but don't quote me on that. I do know that XLM was used in a contest, right, for Bank of America to build what was it, like a digital currency on top of a blockchain. They used XLM and they won the contest. That was last year, I believe, in 2021. Maybe it was in 2022, but I believe it was in 2021. Okay, so they're sort of involved with both. But Bank of America is on Ripple.com's front page. So I said to myself, okay, well, let's look at some of Bank of America's financials, and let's just see what sort of money is moving through Bank of America, because if any of it makes it to its way onto the XRPL, if any of it is utilizing in the future XRP as a banking rail, a fiat currency rail, then that definitely is going to affect the price. So I looked up Bank of America's annual financial report. And here we go. This is a 207-page document. This one is the annual report from 2020. I don't believe I could find, or at least I didn't see one from 2021. Yeah, they don't have 2021 as of yet. So I'm supposing it's going to take a little bit of time to generate all of that information, but they'll probably have it out in the next few months. Okay, and then we'll take a look at that once it does come out. It was the same thing for MUFG. It took MUFG a good amount of time for them to generate their 2021 report, but we waited patiently. We got that, and we were able to look at their financials, which were looking very, very good, I might add. So we're just going to go. It gives us something to work with that we have the 2021 annual. So let's take a look at that very briefly. Let's just see what kind of money is flowing through Bank of America and what that can mean if any of that makes it onto the XRPL. Then you can decide that for yourself, how it's going to affect XRP's price. Okay, so global market, and this is revenue in the billions. Okay, so global markets are $18.8 billion. Consumer market, sorry about that, market. Global markets $18.8 billion. Consumer $33.3 billion. Global banking, $19 billion. GWIM, $18.6. Okay, so that's revenue. Let's look at net income. All right. Global markets, $5.2 billion. Consumer, $6.5 billion. Global banking, $3.5 billion. And GWIM, $3.1 million, for a total of $17.9 billion. That's pretty healthy in my opinion. Let's continue on here. So then they have a little interesting blurb here, so let's just read that. It says, we added roughly 22,000 Merrill and 1,800 private bank relationships in 2020. That's pretty good in my opinion. That's extremely good. It continues and ended the year with client balances at all-time highs of $3.3 trillion. Let me say that again, because if they're providing services, of course, right? So if they use the XRPL to move a lot of that fiat back and forth, especially we're talking intra-bank payments, some of that is, even a modicum of that is going to move that XRP price. But let's read that one more time so we can grasp a hold of how much all of this banking money is going to deeply impact XRP's price, as well as XLM. And it's going to send those prices, in my humble opinion, skyrocketing. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing is guaranteed. All right. This is all if everything continues to go according to plan, of course. But let's just read that one more time because that was very impactful. We added roughly 22,000 Merrill and 1,800 private bank relationships in 2020 alone. So we can expect, I would expect in 2021 that they did somewhere either around that or hopefully half of that. If they did half of that, I'm satisfied with that. But of course, they're a business. They want to increase on all of that. That's usually how businesses are. They want to increase, not negate from that. But we'll see once the 2021 report comes out. But it says, ended the year with client balances at all-time highs of $3.3 trillion. What happens if a little bit of that makes it onto the XRPL? Their clients start using the XRPL to efficiently and cheaply and securely move money back and forth. What happens to that XRP price if that happens? Muy linda, mi gente. Muy linda, mi gente. That price is going to raise. So let's give ourselves one raise it tall. Raise it tall. It's going to raise. All right. But let's continue on here. It says, for the companies we serve, we begin with our small business clients. That's very good. Small business is a part of the market that I don't want to leave behind. I think a lot of people forget about small business, which is why Ripple recently had, it was either a tweet or an article where they were talking about accessing the small business market and not leaving them behind. And Stellar also has something that came out recently about small businesses. I don't remember if it was an interview or an article, but I remember they spoke on it, okay? We want a piece of that small business money. Of course, we want the bank money. We're going to get that. That's there. That's given. Of course, we're going to have a cross-border remittance market. We're going to get that. And the B2B looks like it's for the taking, okay? Because IBM is setting up a massive infrastructure. We're going to absorb a large part of that B2B market. XRP is the same. We're going to absorb a large part of that $75 trillion market. In my humble opinion, it could be smaller, but any of that market, $75 trillion, and that's just B2B, is going to move that price. So it stands to be seen, but these are all possibilities based on the trajectory that has been set right now. I mean, you've seen the data. You've read the articles, you've done the research, you know this yourself. I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but a lot of new people, they don't understand this. There's a ton, never forget that, everyone. There's a ton of new people, not just in crypto. Crypto is one thing. The banking coin sector, XRP, XLM, HBAR, Cello, Algorand, is something completely different, and that's where things get complicated because they think that these banking coins, these bank rails, cryptocurrency fiat rails, are like the rest of cryptocurrency, and that is not the case. And they do not serve those store of value purposes in that superficial way. They're much more deep rooted than that in their utility. Okay, so let's continue on here. It says we also continue as the largest small business lender in the country overall, ending the year with more than $32 billion in small business loan balances. So they were also involved in some other things that are very interesting. It says, we process more than $16 million of economic impact payments, totaling more than $26 billion in the initial round of U.S. government stimulus payments. So they're even involved in that. So even that type of money is moving, which is logical, I know. But just seeing the actual number, $26 billion, what does it do if that's even a piece of that is moving across the XRPL? It's got to be healthy. In my opinion, it's very healthy. A lot of people, they like to look down on billions of dollars. It sounds crazy, but just keep in mind that I'm reading hundreds of comments a day, hundreds of tweets a day, not just sent to me. Some of them are connected to other people. They show you who liked what. And I see this, if you're not talking trillions, it's almost as though people don't care anymore. And it's like, of course, there's trillions on the table. But why would we leave the billions on the table? So let's say P2P market, for instance, right? I love to think about the $75 trillion B2B market. I love to think about millions of dollars in the average being the average for interbank payments, right? I like to say interbank payments. I like to think about payroll, but sometimes I don't think about P2P market, which is going to be a little bit less than $75 trillion market. So what is the P2P market? It's something like, is it like $35 trillion? I think P2P cross-border remittance, is it like 35 trillion? So a lot of people, so because it's a lower number, a lot of people don't discuss that a lot, right? In my estimation for what I'm seeing. And if it's billions, we're talking billions, people kind of just, They just do this thing where they just don't care if it's billions anymore. They've heard so much. But personally, as a researcher, I'm taking all of this into account because I'm looking at all of it in totality. What is the total amount of all of this money? Of course, it's in the quadrillions. But then let's think a little bit more conservatively, like if we take a piece, how much of a piece of that quadrillion what we need to see the price that we want to see? And for each of us, that's going to be different, of course, because each of us might want to take profit at a different time. And only you know when you want to take profit. You got to make that decision for yourself. You know, if you feel like you want to take profit at an earlier number, a lower number than what everybody else is saying, that's what's good for you. Then you take that profit. Take that profit, you know. I have my prices set. I know I have like a range, and I'll decide what I'm going to do once we start going parabolic. I'll know instantly because I'll see the catalyst that clicked in first. I'm looking to see which catalysts come online first and start the run, okay? Get the engine flowing. Then I'll know where everything is going. Trust me, at that time, you're probably going to get the most meticulous videos you've ever gotten out of me. And I know I've done some very technical videos in the past, probably a little bit too technical. I'm trying to balance things out now with just giving you my opinion and mix it with a little bit of the technical data and numbers. But at that time, expect some of the most technical videos, most research-based videos, a lot of calculations. I'm going to take it extremely serious. This is the time where you have to focus. When you see that parabolic run start to occur, whether it's mass adoption around the world or regulatory clarity in the US, either one could set off a parabolic run. Either one. That's where you start to focus. Everything else has to go to the side. We have to be looking at those charts, and we have to be looking at the catalyst, bringing everything together so we know when to strike. We know when we want to take profit, if we're going to be taking profit, when we want to take profit, or if we want to just sell everything, whatever it is you want to do, you'll have the indicators there, but you're going to have to be laser focused, and there will be no playing around. That will be the time you don't want to lose, in my humble opinion. Trust me on this. Okay, so here, let's read this little section. In consumer banking, we ended 2022 with 39.3 million digital customers. 39.3 million digital customers. What happens if a modicum of them start using XRPL? What if half of those would use XRPL, or they integrated the XRPL with that system, right? Let's continue on here. They connected us nearly 11 billion times. Our roughly 13 million active Zelle users, both consumers and small businesses, sent approximately $141 billion in transfers. That's healthy money. We can take a piece of that. I'm not saying let's take it all. I would love for XRP to take it all. I would love for XLM to take it all. But let's just keep things realistic, and let's just say, let's take a piece of that. I think we can. I definitely think we can. And I think that piece would only get bigger and bigger over the years to come as the technology, if they can keep innovating, they're going to have to. They better keep making that protocol better. The better they make the protocol, the more money we can make. We have a vested interest to pat them on the back and tell them good job. We want them to continue to work hard. They're working hard really for us. I want that money. I don't know if you want that money. Listen, call your congressman, email them. Tell them how you feel about crypto, that you want regulatory clarity, that you want them to fight for crypto, the banking coin rails and different tax rules and such like that. Lighten it up a little bit. Let them know how you feel, your congressmen, your senators, whatever you got to do. Make your voice heard. I've been saying this since I first had the channel. It's getting hot now, and we need to try to cool things off. Better for us. So that's how I look at things. This is all a chess match. We got to start moving different pieces. Chess is a fight. You can't just sit back. You're going to get destroyed. Then we have this little section here. It says, we ended 2020 with nearly $21 billion in credit reserves, more than twice we had at the end of 2019. So listen, I just want to say this. Bank of America, from what they're saying here, of course, there is 207 pages to this document. This is just a few pages, a few little lines, okay? So to get the full picture, you'd have to read the entirety of this document. I'm going to post it in the members only section of the communities tab, okay? And just give this a read over if you're an XRP holder. You might have already read this. I don't know if I posted this before. I don't think that I did, but I'm going to post it now. Okay. And so give this a read. And I think you'll like some of the numbers in here. From what I'm reading here, and I'm going to go over the rest of this document. If I see anything else that's noteworthy, we may make another video. But as of right now, this looks very healthy. Right. And I think a lot of these numbers, if any of that were to flow across the XRPL, and the XRPL can be used in a multitude of ways, I think that would be healthy. Muy linda, mi gente. Everything's looking really good right now, in my humble opinion, for us long-term holders of the banking coin. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.